I don't usually talk much to my neighbors. There's only 3 apartments in our house, but I can't remember the last time I talked to Ruby and Jesse. I wasn't exactly surprised when they moved out. It's not like I expected them to invite me to their farewell party, but they could have at least said goodbye. Now there's Doug. I saw into his apartment a few days ago when he was moving in. Looks like he kept all their furniture. In fact, the only thing new I noticed was a wall hanging. Looked like an ancient map, ochre and beige patches marking out boundaries. It's really strange that I never got to know Ruby and Jesse. It was one of those weird neighbor relationships where we always greeted each other in the hallway. Small chit-chat, and occasionally we'd even promised to meet up, but somehow I never made the first step, and neither did they. Doug is different. He came down right after he got settled, but I was already going out on a date. And after that, he nearly came every night. But as things are, when new relationships are starting and dating paired with the usual stress of work, I always had a reason to decline. In the beginning, Doug would frequently ask for stuff. With a big grin on his face, he would stand on my doorstep and ask for scissors or sugar. He was kind of cute. He even borrowed my kitchen utensils to prepare food for a few weeks, he said. I offered to let him use my kitchen a couple of times, but he always declined. He really is such a polite man. But even though Doug is nice, I'd have to say he's a little bit too persistent. Since around the middle of last week, he started coming every night at least once, and sometimes twice. He always invites me to come to his apartment. First he asked me to watch football, and I told him that would bore me. He looked a little sad, but he kept trying. But his reasons started getting weirder and weirder. And then he invited me out to a movie, but I thought that was a little bit too intimate for where I wanted this friendship to go. And then he asked to cook me a meal, and I declined again for the same reason. And to be honest, I was starting to get a little creeped out because he was asking so often. But maybe he was just lonely and looking for new friends in a new town. But he sounds like a local. I mean, he seems to know the area. He even seems to know the people. Once I had to get some keys made, and I asked him if he knew anywhere I could get that done. He described the path to the shop in a way I had never heard before. Not like normal people, turn left there, turn right there. He explained the route by describing the people I would see. Go down the street, and when you see the face of the fat cashier, turn left. When you see the 2 old codgers arguing over the checkerboard, turn right. The shop is the only one with 2 people behind the counter, the woman and the young man that is laughing at her jokes. His descriptions weirded me out. And then when I was actually walking along the street, his words ringing in my ears, I saw it all happening. The moment the fat cashier came into view, there was a narrow path between 2 houses that I had never seen before. And there I could see the 2 old men arguing loudly over a checkerboard, and then the board and the pieces went flying, and the young man was laughing at the woman's jokes. Are people really that predictable? Do those people always do that? Is the butcher's cashier always standing in the exact same spot? And since then, Doug has been even more persistent. It was as if he was noticing that he was losing my trust, because yesterday he came 3 times. Once he asked me to come down and help him with some project he was working on, but I was just about ready to go in the shower, and then afterwards I just forgot about it. And then he came again, asking me if I wanted to play Scrabble. At first I thought he was joking, but he had this weird, serious stare. I did just let it slide and said I was expecting a phone call. The third time was when I was going to bed. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and they stopped just outside my door. And then my doorknob rattled as if it was being tested to see if it was unlocked. It didn't rattle again, but somehow I got the feeling that it was Doug standing on the other side of the door. The next evening, I ran into him in the hall on my way in from work. He was still polite and friendly, but he was being really pushy, and I thought that was out of character. And then he did a really weird thing and asked me if he could take a picture of me for his collection. I was probably a bit rude when I refused, but I was just too tired to put up with this weirdo for another minute. The last time he came was today, just a few minutes after I came home. I was cooking, so I didn't hear him knocking on my door, but I heard him when he started pounding on it. He started calling my name. He sounded panicked and angry all at the same time. I didn't hear everything he was saying, but I did hear some things, and they got stuck in my head.
Come on, you need to help me finish it. I just need one more helper. I know you're in. Come on. Please, I really need you. You have to. There are not too many others with the right color. I don't have much time. You have to help me, whether you want to or not.
I decided not to open the door, and I picked up the phone to call 911. Before I could, I heard the sirens coming down the street. I was frozen as the sirens got louder and louder. And then Doug started body slamming my door. I was shaking as bad as the door, sure it was going to burst down any second. And then I heard shouting outside the building, and then the doorbell ringing repeatedly. I pressed the buzzer and let the policeman in. I heard the shouting and the cursing right in front of my door. I overheard the policeman when he arrested Doug for the murders of Ruby and Jesse and others. I also heard the other policeman talking about pieces of skin used to build a flesh map, each victim's skin being placed on the map at the scene of the crime. Oh my God, it was his map project that he wanted so desperately for me to help him with.